There's no place I'd rather be but home. Oh.
This afternoon, I want to welcome you to the picturesque constituency of Mikunhof. Bienvenue à Mikunod.
We gather under a theme that speaks not only to celebration, but to responsibility, collective responsibility. Devant Assam, nourishing our people, strengthening our nation.
Progress does not happen by chance. If we are serious about nourishing our people, we must continue to invest in youth access to land, financing, training, and markets.
Devant Assam, what does that mean? It means to move forward together. It means more than walking side by side. It means lifting each other. It means feeding minds. It means supporting dreams.
Might as well just paint them yellow, black, white, and blue, because through and through, anything a Lucia put their mind to must come true.
We do have control over our individual actions. To make our independence meaningful and relevant, we must take personal responsibility for our lives. We will continue to find innovative ways to reduce unemployment among our young people by advancing the youth economy and business startups, ensuring that young people are the architects of our digital and creative industries. Let me reiterate the need to come together as one nation with a common destiny. We need to face the challenges of the future with clarity of purpose and a resolve to confront the problems that will confront us. The development of our country is as much the government's responsibility as it is yours. Let us work together to make St. Lucia the best place to live and work.
Wow, tonight feels extraordinary. It's March 11th, the very day that 5 decades ago this company was incorporated. And here we all are, gathered together, not only to celebrate an anniversary, but a legacy deeply rooted in St. Lucia.
I'm pleased to be invited to celebrate this special moment with you. A lifespan of 50 years and still counting is no small feat. Many companies in St. Lucia and regionally would do well if they copied elements of the culture, producing quality products and services, embracing sustainability, and being people-centric. When you commenced operations, you started with 60 people. Today, it is over 200. It is our hope to make St. Lucia the most technologically driven smile in the state by 2035, so that its citizens can produce valuable goods and services in an efficient and sustainable way, while taking advantage of the growing benefits of the digital global space. The government will promote the sensible use of AI as a tool for business enhancement and a complement for a retrained workforce. The future looks promising for Heineken St. Lucia. Given the significant growth in the island's tourism industry, I urge you to continue in your advice to the population to exercise moderation and a zero-tolerance posture towards underage alcohol consumption.
I heard the Prime Minister speak of the Love St. Lucia campaign, and I smiled when he did it, and we smiled because it is a popular refrain of his that we must, grow what we eat and eat what we grow, Mr. Speaker. And we must harvest more water, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, on page 64 in the budget address, the Prime Minister made a very specific point.
This year, the Love St. Lucia campaign will encourage hotels and citizens to love and consume more of what we produce. We will eat what we grow. We will grow what we eat. We will use what we produce and consume locally produced products.
If we teach our people to love what we produce, to consume what we produce, it reduces our reliance on foreign products, Mr. Speaker. It means we give more space for our manufacturing sector to grow and to develop, because our people are demanding what it is that we are producing. And they will also put pressures on us to produce what they want, Mr. Speaker. So whilst we are building up businesses, we're giving them the capacity to get financing, to expand their capabilities. We are telling our people to demand from them the things that they want to consume, Mr. Speaker. And we're starting, Mr. Speaker, to complete the circle.
This year, a business facilitation unit will be established in the Department of Commerce to oversee the implementation of the Ease of Doing Business agenda. Mr. Speaker, a long-standing issue for the private sector has been an electronic single entry window. This issue has been on the table for discussion for almost 20 years. This is a significant ease of doing business cost reduction initiative for the private sector, which will eliminate duplication of entries, multiple applications for licenses or permits with broader agencies, and in-person visits to submit applications or payments.
The St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival 2026, the ultimate celebration, Sunday 10th May at Pigeon Island, featuring the legendary Billy Ocean. Billy Ocean. Beverly Knight, Mervyn Wilkinson, headlining the festival fresh off their world tour. R&B icons Brandy and Monica.
When I first saw you, I already knew. Angel of mine.
Online tickets available at stluciajazzandartsfestival.com.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the press. I am Melissa Paul, Press Secretary to the Prime Minister, and I am pleased to welcome you to another pre-cabinet press briefing. Our first presenter is Honorable Kenson Kazimi, Minister for Education, Sports, Youth Development, and Digital Transformation. He will brief us on Moshi Jazz.
interesting. Good morning, everybody. Of course, we've been having a lot of conversation about jazz in the air, and we've been having a lot of questions, because I did announce to Cabinet that this year the organizers of Moshi Jazz decided not to host the event this year for a number of reasons. Moshi Jazz bloomed into a premier event that is first and foremost free of charge. It's the only event that we have, and the whole concept of Moshi Jazz was to give individuals from the communities that are not able to afford main stage jazz an opportunity to experience jazz. But what has happened over the years is we've had a number of people that would previously volunteer ask for compensation for hosting a free event. So we have a price tag of between $175,000 and $200,000 for an event. Sponsorship had spread throughout all of St. Lucia for the number of community events that are being hosted, and so the commitments from sponsors to actually host Moshi Jazz just did not meet that marker of anywhere near $175,000. And then when you have a situation where previously you would have young men from a community volunteer to help with the stage setup, with different things that we need, coming with a price tag of $200 each to do different things, and you have musicians and different individuals asking for compensation of a particular amount for an event that is free. It really places a strain on you as the organizer. So the organizers have decided that this year we will definitely sit down at the drawing table, see how we can raise some funds, how we can truncate some of the activities that we normally do, and come back next year stronger. There were rumors all over that the event was taken to Grand Riviere or it was taken to Grocery Town. That is just rumor. Moshi Jazz, in terms of what we wanted to put on, the quality of which we really want to ensure we have every year, we realized that this year would have been a really big challenge to put it on based on the finances that we had raised or not raised at the time. So that is why the organizers took the decision that we are going to have the event next year. These are the facts. In other news, on the ministerial front, we had the pen relays. I was able to accompany the team from St. Mary's College to the pen relays in Pennsylvania, and I thought the team did very, very well. I think they represented St. Lucia very well. There were over 600 colleges, universities participating, and for a St. Lucia team from St. Mary's College to run a heat and finish first in that heat, that provided some level of representation of the talent that we have on island. The advice from the sponsors, Hamilton Reserve Bank, is that next year we are going to be sending over 2 teams, a 4x100 and 4x400 meter male team, and a 4x100 and 4x400 meter female team to the pen relays. This year it was a bit late notice, and so we had to gravitate towards ensuring that the team we sent had visas, and we did not have to go for the rigors of actually doing that. But next year, the whole idea is to try to host Island Champs a little bit earlier, so that the winning 4x100 meter relay team in both male and female gets to represent St. Lucia at the next pen relays. We've also entered into a number of agreements with Hamilton Reserve Banks in terms of how we get more sponsorship by way of scholarships and additional finances towards sports. And later on, once the fine print and the agreement is solidified, we will definitely let everybody know. In addition to that, in the Ministry of Education, I represented St. Lucia at the Global Education Summit that was held in New York last weekend. I presented on the innovative nature of education in the pretty much beyond 21st century, and I was able to speak, represent, and also liaise, forge some partnerships with some of the other ministers of education from around the world. Questions?
Good morning, Mr. Minister.
There is conversation that school security in St. Lucia can be strengthened. One, how does your ministry assess the overall state of security across schools? And two, what does the ministry intend to do moving forward?
All right, so we did make a statement during my parliamentary debate, during the debate of the appropriations, that we produced additional funds for school security. We will be doing it on a case-by-case basis. So we know some of the schools are more at risk than the others. And so the ministry have put together an actual strategic team. We're meeting tomorrow, by coincidence, to actually put the entire concept together. We have funding for additional security measures such as fencing, I'm trying to remember it now, the videotaping, anybody can help me with that? The CCTV, wow. CCTV cameras from different schools. We know some of the schools that are at risk more. And so we're going to strategically sit down at the table. We have identified some police officers that are going to be part of the strategic team, and we are going to move forward in ensuring that we provide more safety and security for students at schools.
I know that the typical school day does not go beyond 2:30, but loitering of school students across the streets have become very concerning now.
Has become?
Well,
I've never known a time in St. Lucia's history where loitering after school was not of huge concern.
Well, I think it has worsened now, and there's this culture of hotspots. So there are certain streets that students would frequent a lot more after school. Yeah. So are you aware of this? I take it that you are.
Of course.
Okay,
I don't think I went to school that long ago. I think it was a perennial problem even then. And of course, we have more concerns because this is a more modern era, and I think it's exposed more because we have social media and some of what happens. But I don't think it's unique to St. Lucia. I don't think it's unique to the times. I am concerned. I want students to be more gainfully engaged in meaningful activities after school. And the ministry have provided a number of after school, not just the Ministry of Education, but the Ministry of Social Transformation. We have after school programs centered around bringing people into clubs and organizations, and even sporting organizations as well. We want to continue to promote that. We, as a ministry, we've set aside some finances for additional truancy officers, and that will be part of what we want to put in terms of ensuring that there is less loitering, that we have kids getting involved in extracurricular activities. We've been having some discussions on whether or not we get somebody responsible for creating the actual, framework for diverting students into these extracurricular activities and taking it from there.
Okay, so while these programs or initiatives are accessible to many students, there is a reality that many of these students opt out of these extracurricular activities. So how does your ministry ensure that yes, the programs are there, but it's catered to young people, yes, but how does your ministry ensure that these people take advantage and explore these opportunities?
You see, the Ministry of Education cannot function alone. You can't function in silos. You have parents, you have the religious organizations, you have the whole society. It cannot be the responsibility of the Ministry of Education solely to ensure that students participate in extracurricular activities. Let's look at what's happened over the last 5 years in just the government. We've started semi-professional cricket. We've started high performance center in cricket. We've started so many different programs that we've made available to the students. I don't think it's the responsibility of the Ministry of Education to go and grab people by the neck and get into the programs. The society, the family have to gravitate towards what's available, because there's so much available, so many clubs available, so many activities available. So I think it has to be an effort. And when people speak about government, they only think of politicians, but we are the government. We as individuals, a parent need to be able to sit down with a child and say, hey, you like art. Are you aware of the art programs and the clubs that are available for you to participate in? Sit down at the table and say, yes, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that you are going to an art class. That is what we should be doing. So the ministry continues to encourage that, but until everybody else in society don't see the need to take their space in ensuring that it happens, it won't happen.
Okay. And finally, from me, your review on Youth Month.
I am going to be sitting down with the team, not just from the ministry, but from NYC and some of the other stakeholders to ensure that we get a good review. I was out for the last week and a half to be sensitized on everything that happened. I would say that next year we're expecting things to really be better, because we do intend to host things like Youth Awards during Youth Month, which is really a signature event, and of course Youth Parliament and some of those other activities during that time. So when I get that information, I'll be able to report a little bit better for you.
Thank you.
All right.
Let's double back to the extracurricular activities. What are the methods that the ministry is using to actually speak the children's language, to get them to know that, hey, those programs, they're there, they exist? Do you think it actually attracts the individuals that you all want to attract?
That's a very good question. I think when I came into the Ministry of Education, one of the first things I asked was, do we have a TikTok for the Ministry of Education? Do we have an Instagram page for the Ministry of Education? And of course the answer was no. And I mandated that both the Ministry of Sports and Education, they get into these social media platforms. Because the fact remains that I can post on Facebook now until doomsday. I have 40,000 followers on Facebook. If I have 1,000 of them that are under 18, I have a lot. And I can guarantee you, from the 15,000 I have on TikTok, 90% of them are probably under the age of 18. So we are working on that, because I think it's very important for you to find strategic ways to actually communicate what activities, because we do have so many activities that are ongoing in those ministries, and you are correct, they are not meeting these individuals. So I believe for sure the ministry has to do its part in that regard, and of course parents too.
Good morning, Mr. Minister.
Morning, sir.
We, at this time again, where I'm pretty sure the conversation will begin, regarding sporting facilities being under pressure.
So
we have seen an increase in the number of sporting activities. Remember, you mentioned CPA.
Why don't you ask the other individuals about that question?
I will take you up on that, but let me get your side of the story
You know
first.
exactly where I stand on this issue. Okay. You all know I am one minister.
It's 2026. Your stance may have changed. So let me just continue. So I do recognize that there have been upgrades to facilities in the last couple of years. Recognizing that, and recognizing also there have been an increase in sporting activities, SPL and playoffs just concluded, but also an increase in entertainment activities, jazz, we go straight into carnival and what have you. What is the policy direction, if there's a policy direction, that the two could coexist, that one doesn't interfere with the other?
I'll be very pleased if that question that is so brilliantly put together is asked to other individuals.
Okay.
I believe personally, and I've said this has been the conviction from my heart and mind, that we need to find a balanced approach that ensures that anybody who's using a sports facility, you know I don't want anything but sports on a sports facility. That's my position. That's what I believe. If at the end of the day we have those sports facilities being used in a very expedited fashion, get it back to usability for all the programs that we have for sports. That's my position. We have seen a lot of effort since I made my pronouncement and got slaughtered and dragged through social media and elsewhere. We've seen the concerted effort to do this more, but I believe at the end of the day, we can do more. We saw damages on the Soufriere mini stadium. Of course, the organizers will say that they have the contingency to bring it back up to par. It's still early days, so we'll see how that works out. But I believe until we, at the end of the day, understand what sports is doing for this nation, totally, we'll continue to have these issues.
You just spoke to alternative after-school programs and areas targeting young people to engage them more. So let's just take it a step further. We just saw the presence of iShowSpeed, social media influencer, streamer, as Minister of Digital Transformation. I know primarily the focus is always on education, but what opportunities you see can be provided to young persons who want to use those platforms? You just mentioned TikTok and what have you, to monetize what they're doing. as an alternative avenue or revenue stream for them?
Yeah, first and foremost, I think what iShowSpeed actually did or should have accomplished, and I hope that that was accomplished in the hearts and minds of young people in this country, is show how if you truly search inside of you, to do some introspection and figure out your niche, how you can use the modern equipment that is in front of you, a cell phone, TikTok, Instagram, and become an absolute millionaire. There is no big science to iShowSpeed. iShowSpeed believed that he was faster than everybody. He decided he's going to challenge everybody and try and run past them. He developed a social media following. He has a little bit of singing talent, and the man has blossomed to an internet sensation. How does that tie into your question? We as a government have introduced a youth economy, which is supposed to do just that. iShowSpeed, in starting off, would have probably not spent more than $1,000. Think about it. For iShowSpeed to start off what he's doing right now, it did not cost $1,000. A cell phone, engagements, calling people, recording what he's doing, and now he's a multi-millionaire. This government is giving $5,000 for individuals who have talents and skills to hone in on those talents and skills and blossom into the biggest stars if they decide to be unique and to really create what they need to create. Now, I just thought that in terms of exposure to St. Lucia, that worked very well. I mean, the conversation in all quarters is that St. Lucia did very well. St. Lucia is a beautiful island. We were able to depict some of our culture. Probably we could have done a little bit more in that way. I think that went very well. I think the motivation to, bring a whole country together to show off, I think that worked very well. Yeah.
Going back to the issue of sporting facilities and entertainment. Mm-hmm. While it's understood that your position is clear, and honorably so, as it should be, as the Minister of Sports, how do you have a conversation with somebody who says that the government is not serious about sports? Mm-hmm. Because here you are spending millions of taxpayers' money to improve sporting facilities, but now you utilize it for entertainment that is going to cost you millions of dollars to rehabilitate, and then at the same time not having that facility available for sports individuals at times of need.
I would tell them another government, but not this government. I don't think anybody can describe this government as not being serious about sports. Never in the history of St. Lucia have we seen a government more serious about identifying talent, financing talent, ensuring we have programs for that talent, nurturing that talent, and identifying again where the gaps are and providing that sort of balance to ensure that they become world-class athletes. I don't think any other government in our history have done that. I don't think any other government has ensured that we semi-professionalize sports, start to deal with the mentality that individuals have from an even younger age, that they can become semi-professionals with sports, and sports is an avenue for them to better their life. This government does not operate in silos. If I had to choose a government and a team to be part of at any time of history in terms of what I've read or anything, it would have been this government, this Philip J.P. administration. I'll tell you why. We disagree on things, but we don't fight, because we know at the end we will find a way to make it work. Despite the fact that I have my own convictions, that anybody who knows me from the age of 9, I became a national athlete, and I have those views because I've done sports at every level, media, teaching PE, now minister, any level you can think of. They will tell you they understand my conviction. That's my conviction. The government believes that if we come together, we can make this work even better. We moved from the sampling facility, for instance, having a situation where for months it took a while before we got the sampling facility, but every year we've seen less and less time actually, in terms of wait time for us to get the facility back to where we want it to be. So we have seen the effort from all and sundry. Am I satisfied? No. But I will not go as far as to say that we are not serious. We want to find a balanced approach. Entertainment brings value to communities, to our society, to our country. Those activities, there is a value to it. My job as the Minister of Sport is to ensure that despite the fact that we have those things happening, we get sports facilities and activities and programs back as soon as possible to our athletes.
Do you believe that there are other facilities that could be utilized as opposed to the sporting facilities for entertainment?
I think it's the convenience for the general population. The convenience for the general population in terms of where those activities are. For instance, Soufrière. Let's take a look at Soufrière. I mean, where Soufrière Jazz is happening. The reason why the playing field is in a particular location is because it's convenient for everybody to come to. So the reason why they would want to have the entertainment activity at that very same venue is because it's more convenient. What has to happen is every single preventative measure by the organizer of the event that is non-sports, it has to be borne by them. So if you're going to use Soufrière, the organizers of whatever activities that is non-sport need to take everything into consideration to protect the Soufrière mini stadium so we can have sports. That is where I am concerned, that is where I get upset, that is where I lose sleep. Because it feels sometimes as if people believe they can just use it and exit and then fix whatever they need to fix. Not enough is being done to protect it first, and that is where the conversation is right now, I can tell you, so that at the end of the day, by next year, I'm certainly hoping that everything that is needed to be placed before will ensure that it's in place to protect it even better.
Good afternoon again. What is the government's or Ministry of Education's position on supporting St. Lucian students in Hungary who are now required to obtain UK transit visas or authorization to return home, particularly given the unexpected financial burden this places on students, including those on scholarships?
I intend to be a very agile Minister of Education. We will have situations not just in Hungary or the other places, Cuba. You have to be malleable, flexible. You have to find the solutions. We are meeting for sure at the table. We will definitely not leave our students stranded. I can guarantee you that. We have to make adjustments. Even with what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz, this is going to definitely provide challenges to any government. So governments do have those challenges with shifting geopolitical activities. My mandate is to identify those gaps and see how best we can deal with it. We may not be able to provide all of the finances, but this Philip J. Pierre-led organization has been very, very good at meeting different challenges and making the adjustments. So once we get the full scope of what it is, we will definitely provide some additional assistance.
And can you confirm how many students are currently studying in
No,
Hungary?
I cannot confirm that right now.
Thanks.
Yeah.
One question for me. This week, if not this month, St. Lucian fifth formers are going to write CSEC.
Yes.
Your
Thank you.
expectation?
As a matter of fact, CSEC exams, formerly known as CXEs, starting today. And I met with individuals from exams today. They're putting everything together. This government is paying for 5 CXEs. I'm not sure if any of you heard that. We are paying currently for 5 CXEs. So when they tell you we're not doing nothing for people and young women and that sort of stuff, you have to wonder what they're talking about. We are paying for 5 CXEs this year. I'm very excited about it. We have the primary school examinations next week. CPEA. Twin girls are getting ready for it, so I'll give you all their progress after. But generally, I think we have all our ducks in a row, and we are in line to pay for those 5 CXEs, and of course continue the payment of facilities fees, and then later on in the year one laptop per child, and then we'll be hearing the announcement of our Taiwanese scholarships in the month of June, and of course the Monroe scholarships, they are open right now, the applications, and we have the bursary assistance for Sahafa Lewis also open right now until July. We will be making announcements, we will be using TikTok and some of these other social media platforms to let people know where they can apply, and we will be providing that information.
Something you mentioned during your budget debate concerning, I think, cooks, janitors, and so on getting paid.
Yes.
Why is that significant?
It's very significant because we had a situation where we know the month of August, people are not in school. And these individuals, especially those who have been working at schools for so many years, they would have to pretty much have a unpaid vacation for that entire month. And most of the times, I can tell you in Grosley, I would have had to foot some of their bills for that month. Obviously, the Prime Minister, in his wisdom, figured we should be able to pay their vacation. So this is pretty much what it is. They're going to be paid during that time, and I think they deserve it. They work very hard. They slave over, pots and pans. Some of them are cleaning until late at night. I did some cleaning myself. Rest in peace, Florence Casimir, a janitor at Grosley Primary and Infant. That's when I learned to actually sweep and mop, just being in and around. And so right now, I feel proud that I'm the minister who gets to oversee the fact that these individuals get paid, and I think that is well deserved for them.
And the teaching materials allowance, is it going to be increased further this year? Well,
the increase is in the budget. So it's increased from last year. So this year, they would see a further increase from last year.
I asked because they originally get, I think, $1,400. So are you saying teachers can expect a little more than $1,400?
A little bit more. A little bit more.
All right.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
They'll always have me here for 2 hours.
Yeah. All right, boss.
Let the rhythm inspire you at the St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival 2026. Pure Jazz. Tuesday, May 5th, Grammy-winning Esperanza Spalding. Then on Thursday, May 7th, Branford Marcellus Quartet. May 6th, Kingdom Night. Gospel powerhouse Ty Trebet. Ada AE. Then feel the rhythm at Caribbean Fusion. Friday, May 8th, featuring the original Wailers with Al Anderson. Skip Marley has the band. Imran Nerdy, Dexter Daps. World Beats. Saturday, May 9th, Afrobeat sensation Thames. Princess Lover, X-Man, Lou City, October 4, and Ella May. The Ultimate Celebration, Sunday, May 10th, featuring the legendary Billy Ocean. Beverly Knight, Mervyn Wilkinson, R&B icons Brandy and Monica. Online tickets available at stluciajazzandartsfestival.com.
We are finalizing the National Strategic Plan for Health 2025 to 2030, which we started work on in 2025 with the assistance of the Pan American Health Organization and the World Health Organization. So, Mr. Speaker, we are finalizing a plan. The plan is complete, but we now have to include nutrition.
In 2026-27, we'll place greater emphasis on nutrition and healthy living. We will convene a national nutrition conference, initiatives to ensure balanced diet and portion control, expand workplace wellness and physical activity programs. Mr. Speaker, the fight against non-communicable diseases must begin not in the hospital, but in our homes, in our schools, and in our communities.
You know, Mr. Speaker, the cost of healthcare to the economy, most estimates put it at 1 to 8% of your GDP. And if you look at the OECS and St. Lucia in particular, it's costing St. Lucia, the St. Lucian economy, between $250 to $300 million just for NCDs, non-communicable diseases, diabetes, hypertension, and some of the cancers and so on. Just imagine that, Mr. Speaker. If you take $300 million annually every year $250 to $300 million. It's a cost. So focusing on healthcare and the work in healthcare is important because it costs us money.
Let the rhythm inspire you at the St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival 2026. Pure Jazz. Tuesday, 5th May at the Pavilion in Rodney Bay. We lead with Grammy winner, virtuoso bassist and vocalist Esperanza Spalding. Esperanza Spalding. All the way from Trinidad and Tobago, Chantal Estelle and Moïse, St. Lucian artists Camille Chalamine and Leandra Modeste. Then on Thursday, May 7th, experience the legendary Branford Marsalis Quartet. Also featuring Jesse Billy and Echoes. Online tickets available at stluciajazzandartsfestival.com.
Now, we've all heard of the complaints and the frustrations expressed especially by small manufacturers and those aspiring to come to market with innovative products, but they've not been able to do so. Not because of a lack of talent or drive, but due to a combination of situational factors, including the high cost of materials and procurement of machinery that they need to use in producing their goods. That has been a historical problem. Well, I'm pleased, Mr. Speaker, and the Minister of Finance mentioned it, that we have plans to provide our manufacturing sector with an innovative answer to this long-standing challenge.
Mr. Speaker, the aspiration that cottage industries would mature and export to third countries is slowly disappearing as they require onerous psychosanitary and processing standards. This means that to continue in business, many of our small manufacturers will need governmental supports. It is for this reason that the Department of Commerce, Invest in Lucia, Exports in Lucia, and the Ministry of Agriculture are aggressively pursuing the establishment of national processing and innovation facilities to support MSME manufacturers.
More specifically, Mr. Speaker, it is a priority for me as Minister, if responsible for commerce, to establish a production and processing facility to bridge the gap or that missing asset in our manufacturing landscape, Mr. Speaker. The proposed production facility will operate in accordance with international standards for food safety and manufacturing, including being hazard analysis critical control points and good manufacturing practices compliance. And this is very important. If we are going to export to the US, to the UK, to the EU, we need to meet those international standards.
Let the spirit move you at the St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival 2026. Praise, worship, Kingdom Night, Wednesday, May 6th at the Pigeon Island National Landmark. Experience high energy live gospel with Ty Tribbett. Ty Tribbett. Powerful voice of Ada A.E.
Congratulations, you're in the glory of God. Congratulations.
With local gospel acts Shirley Ann Cyril Myers, Nigella Sinclair Daniel, Steffi Ann Sinclair, Dr. Selma Sanpri, Arnold A.J. Jules, Dwayne Brown, and the James Sisters. Online tickets available at stluciajazzandartsfestival.com.
No modern health system is complete without a robust response to mental health. This year, we will develop a national mental health policy, introduce enabling legislation aligned with international standards, and expand community-based mental health services. This represents a critical step in addressing stigma, improving access, and ensuring that mental health is treated with the same urgency and dignity as physical health.
I've spoken about the Director of Mental Health Services, and this director has started work into reviewing the national mental health policy. Steps are being taken to have psychiatric nurse practitioners do even more work in terms of access to being able to do prescriptions and so on at the primary level.
The St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival 2026. Feel the rhythm at Caribbean Fusion, Friday, May 8th at Pigeon Island, featuring the original Wailers with Al Anderson. The original Wailers. Skip Marley. The best.
When it's time to leave in the morning,
Edmund Nerdy.
You feel like I'm a fool, 'cause I take it.
And Dexter Daps.
Up all night, speaking on the phone. Look like you need a new replacement.
Online tickets available at stluciajazzandartsfestival.com.
I heard the Prime Minister speak of the Love St. Lucia campaign. And I smiled when he did it, and we smiled because it is a popular refrain of his that we must, grow what we eat and eat what we grow, Mr. Speaker. And we must harvest more water, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, on page 64 in the budget address, the Prime Minister made a very specific point.
This year, the Love St. Lucia campaign, will encourage hotels and citizens to love and consume more of what we produce. We will eat what we grow. We will grow what we eat. We will use what we produce and consume locally produced products.
If we teach our people to love what we produce, to consume what we produce, it reduces our reliance on foreign products, Mr. Speaker. It means we give more space for our manufacturing sector to grow and to develop, because our people are demanding what it is that we are producing. And they will also put pressures on us to produce what they want, Mr. Speaker. So whilst we are building up businesses, we're giving them the capacity to get financing, to expand their capabilities. We are telling our people to demand from them the things that they want to consume, Mr. Speaker. And we're starting, Mr. Speaker, to complete the circle.
The St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival 2026. The ultimate celebration. Sunday, 10th May at Pigeon Island, featuring the legendary Billy Ocean. Billy Ocean. Beverly Knight, Mervyn Wilkinson, headlining the festival fresh off their world tour. R&B icons Brandy and Monica.
When I first saw you, I already knew. Angel of mine.
Online tickets available at stluciajazzandartsfestival.com.
We now welcome our second presenter, Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire, who is also the Deputy Prime Minister of St. Lucia He is the Minister for Tourism, Commerce, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture and Heritage. He will brief us on the opening of jazz and the several other jazz initiatives which occurred over the weekend. Dr. Taylor.
Thank you very much. Well, I think I'm probably more prepared to answer questions, but let me just make a very short opening remarks. The Jazz and Arts Festival officially opened on Thursday night, April 30th. It certainly, from the data we have, hosted the largest crowd ever for an opening of jazz. The records will show, I won't be able to give the final numbers, but over 12,000 persons, patrons attended the opening of jazz. And like I said, last year we had recorded 10,600 plus patrons. And this year we would have topped this with over 12,000 patrons at the opening. From all accounts, it was incident-free, very successful. And the following day, we hosted community jazz events in Ancillary and in Roselle. Ancillary also hosted 2 performances by George Fisher-Alfors. And I attended one of them, and I can tell you it was very well received in typical George Fisher-Alfors style. Really, really exciting in Ancillary and in Roselle. And of course, as you know, not even the blackout stopped the vibe in Roselle. We were still able to enjoy Roselle. The Saturday was Soufre Jazz. Again, we saw record numbers at Soufre Jazz, and patrons certainly had a fantastic time. And we had structured the program in a way that would allow people to spend a weekend down in the south. So on the Friday you would have had Ancillary Roselle, Saturday you would have had Soufre, Sunday morning you had breakfast in the Sulphur Springs, DT and Souf, and then move on to Vieux-Fort in the afternoon. So on Sunday afternoon we had Vieux-Fort, we had Fodor, the return of Fodor. Fodor had last hosted, I think, in 2012. They came back in 23, but they took a break, and it was really good to see Fodor back on track. And of course Babono at Foasso, Babono, which is a greater emphasis on country music, which is something we've been encouraging for at least one of the community festivals to focus on country music. And so therefore that brought an end to our community jazz events. And from all indications, they've been fantastic. The numbers have continued to increase. The communities are putting on better organized and managed events, which really says a lot. We saw the arts component extending to Vieux-Fort and to Ancillary, and again, that's comforting for us. We're going to continue to push the communities to include both arts and music as part of the celebration. So we're quite happy with this. We also had last week 2 plays. Well, I attended 2 plays. They were free plays. One by Striptease by Kendall Hippolyte. There was Don't Call Me Baby Doll by Dr. Travis Wicks, which I attended, and I think it's a fascinating and fantastic play. I really wish it would be put on again and for St. Lucians to really get a chance to see it. And of course the Mighty Sparrow 10-1, which also was quite good. And it really tells a lot that we were able to have free plays in 1 week showing in St. Lucia. I cannot recall that ever been done. And we're going to have some discussions as to how we can continue to promote theatrical productions in St. Lucia. There's not a massive, number of persons following it, but I think it's going to grow. And it's really going to be quite, interesting to see how our young playwrights and our young actors and actresses at the school level can get involved. Last week we also had the launch of Junior Carnival, and that too is really important for us because this year we're making a determined effort to, expand and improve on Junior Carnival. So you will see some really exciting things happening with Junior Carnival. Of course, last year we separated the soca, well, the primary schools and the secondary schools, because we added the soca component to it, which made it too big for one day. So we actually have 2 days now. We'll continue with this. We'll introduce this year a schools panorama. We've had junior panorama before. We never had schools panorama. So we're going to have schools panorama. And I think 9 schools are going to take part this year. And a couple of areas the schools are joining up. So for example, in Miku, all the schools are joining up as a Miku schools pan side. Again, that for us is really exciting, and I expect the pan schools panorama to even grow next year, because there are other schools that are now coming on board as well, but not really ready yet. And the third element of the junior carnival, which is really exciting for me, is that we're going to pick 4 schools and provide support for them to build a costume that hopefully we can portray at King and Queen of the Bands. So we're already training the next generation of costume designers and costume builders. So I'm really, really excited about this one to see what the schools can produce. And I think it will tell us a lot about where our carnival is going. We're also going to be including the theater art students as part of the SBAs to incorporate carnival and the planning and management of junior carnival. So you'll see a lot of the schools, students involved in the planning and management of the junior carnival events. So already we're preparing for the next generation of event planners, event managers, which is important because there are about 4 pillars for junior carnival. You know, we have pillars for carnival and, you know, but also for junior carnival, one of which is the creative arts development. So we want to train the next generation of costume designers, costume builders, the next generation of event planners, event managers. So we'll be involving a lot of the students as part of the planning and management of the events. And those of them who are theater art students, that would come towards the SBAs. So that's the practicals in a sense. And we're really excited about that. So the school store will be managed by students. And you know, the school's Calypso and school soca will be managed by students. And for us, it's really important to give them a chance to manage the festival. I'm really excited about where this can go because we're preparing the next generation, making sure that there's sustainability in the carnival. So last week we had a really exciting week with the community jazz events and of course the junior carnival. So, and of course you should realize by now, but the moment jazz finishes this weekend, by next weekend the Calypso tents are ready to start and we go straight into you know, carnival season, you know, which is more events and less sleep and whatnot. So but it's been really good and really exciting, and I'm happy for that. So let me take your questions. Hamilton.
Good afternoon, Minister. Just one question in terms of the tourism sector as a whole. So one of the biggest concerns, especially in the times we are now, especially with the current situation with the US and Iran, has always been the prospect of traveling, especially when it comes with airlines. And of course, recently, just a few days ago, Spirit Airline is currently going to be going out of business. Though they don't come to St. Lucia, they always had the reputation of being one of the low rating airlines budgets you can actually purchase. And a lot of other airlines tend to copy that kind of ratings as well. So my question is that now Spirit Airline is going out of business and the fluctuation which may happen to other airlines, are there going to be any concerns of airlines coming to St. Lucia? Will we see less flights than usual because of this in terms of time?
Well, I mean, Spirit, like you said, did not fly to St. Lucia. And they flew a lot in the southwest of the United States. I mean, we always worried about it. We don't own an airline. We don't own or have investments in airlines, so we are at the mercy of others. You know, we are price takers, and we negotiate and we try to encourage, you know, the airlines to fly. So we always worried about the loss of, you know, airlift. But you know, sometimes you don't worry about the things you cannot control or influence. You know, in your calculations, in your analysis, you state them as taken. You take what exists. You anticipate what may be, but then you still have to always be ready to take it for what it is. I mean, if you get too consumed worrying about the things you cannot influence or change, you know, you won't really make progress. And we've seen all the flights coming in from the United States literally booked. I mean, all flights coming in. Because this is the season for it. There's jazz, and then it takes a lull, and we go into carnival when it will peak again. So, yes, we always concerned, we're always looking at what's happening, and we just have to continue to work to get as many airlines as possible coming to St. Lucia.
Good morning, Mr. Minister. You spoke to the activities concerning Junior Carnival, and this certainly speaks to the continuing legacy of our culture of Carnival. But just let's go back to jazz. Once upon a time, that was a fixture of the jazz, the master classes and what have you. Recognizing that this year you had one that I'm aware of, the training with the Trinidadians over here for the play and so on. What is that going to look like going forward? Because oftentimes, we see the increase in visitor arrivals and what have you, but in terms of the legacy, passing on that institutional knowledge of some of the artisans who are here in St. Lucia and pairing them up with some of our local artisans, what is that going to look like for you?
Well, that continues. You made mention of the Trinidadians, the theatrical productions. We also have with Linton Kwesi Johnson, with spoken word, more dub poetry, whatnot. So we do have those master classes that continues. This year, and I didn't want to say much about it, and the SLTA will be issuing a statement very soon about it. St. Lucian dancers will be featured on main stage in a very big way. The international artists coming will be using St. Lucian dancers as part of their productions. And for us, that's massive. We've never had, our local dancers have never got an opportunity where they will go global, albeit in St. Lucia, but they will be on a global stage. And those international artists are engaging with them for them to perform at main stage. And like I said, over the next couple of days, a formal statement will be made identifying the individuals. And for me, that's really massive. I mean, when you get the details from the SLTA statement, you realize just how big it is. That our dancers that we see regularly will be featured in a massive way in those productions. And it really opens new avenues for them. So yes, we see that kind of development taking place. We see that kind of legacy being established.
Still on the Jazz Festival, it's a weekend I've constantly batted on before. What can we put in place? I'm fully aware that at least one of those events that you mentioned, we had one particular artist using profanity on stage. Yeah. It's something I have put forward in terms of national events and who we invite. Yes, we're paying them, but they're still guests in our country. What can we put in place? What can be done so that there's not a repeat? Because several of these activities are family type events. It's not an event, mature audiences only, that anything goes. What can we do to ensure that there's not a repeat of that sort of thing?
Well, I think it has to be a question of consequence management. You cannot stop somebody when they're on stage from doing or saying something, but you have to create a culture, a reputation, that artists know that if they behave in a particular way, there are consequences. So other artists would not want to do it. Now, some of the artists themselves are probably not even aware of what the boundaries are because they perform globally. They perform in settings where they are allowed that kind of freedom. Some people see that as artistic freedom. And that is still a part of artistic expression for them to use certain words. But they ought to know, and you speak with their managers to indicate what's allowed, what's not allowed, especially that artist has a reputation for behaving in a particular way. And of course, when something goes wrong, there is some consequence, and you can put it in their contracts that if they behave in a particular way, what effect it has, what consequence it would have. And I think that's as far as you can go. Okay. Once somebody's on stage, it's very difficult for you to control them thereafter.
Okay, just two more questions for me. Status report on the upcoming CIS.
Well, I kind of even forgot that taking place this week. Yeah, but it starts on Wednesday. We're expecting over 300 attendees at the conference. On Wednesday is the Leadership Forum, where the Prime Ministers will meet at Secrets to discuss the state of the Citizenship and Investment Program and what the future looks like. And on Thursday, we move to Royalton, Thursday, Friday. I think I speak on Thursday morning about the industry and their workshop sessions. It's a massive conference, really international. Quite a lot of people are coming in from MENA, Middle East, North Africa, from Europe, Far East, Africa, all over the world really. Like I said, almost 300 plus attendees are coming in for that conference. They will also be our guests at Jazz on Saturday, and it's really looking forward to it.
Okay. Your fellow cabinet colleague, Honorable Kenton Kasimi, he asked me to ask a question to the relevant individual. He didn't mention any names. I'm just putting the question to you. I did ask him the policy in terms of striking that right balance with sporting venues being used for entertainment. We're now into the jazz season. Some of them have been used. We're going into Carnival right after that. And there have been some serious concerns about, you know, the state of those venues after those entertainment events by the sporting facility. And of course, the minister have made his position very clear on that. What is your position?
No, well, my position is similar to his, similar but not the same. I believe as a small island state, we have limited facilities. That is the truth. And it comes down to a question of management. How do we manage the use? And I remember very well, when we were building the Bosejo cricket ground, I was responsible for overseeing the Darren Sami cricket ground. And when I stated the cost of the surface, nowhere in the Caribbean did we have a sun cap outfield. And, you know, traditionally we did our playing fields a particular way. And people were really reluctant. Why spend, you know, almost $2 million on an outfield? That's almost unheard of. Well, like I said, nowhere else in the Caribbean had a sun outfield. And I explained to them, you spend a lot of money on the surface so you can have versatility of use. Apart from enhancing the conditions for athletes, so you could dive, you can roll and feel comfortable that the surface, you won't hurt yourself. You want to have surfaces that you can use for multiple purposes, and it takes very little to restore it. Because and that's just what we have to do. Let's spend $2 million on an outfield, which is sand, which allows you to have concerts. And we actually designed the stadium for the purposes of concerts. The northern stands are shaped like an amphitheater, 2 huge northern stands. We didn't build a huge southern stand, we didn't build a huge western stand. We built 2 northern stands with corporate boxes to the top. If you look at the shape of it, it was designed in an amphitheater style, so to allow for us to have concerts there. So persons can rent boxes at the top, looking down at a stage, 2 huge, you know, 1,500 seater stands. That's why we did it that way. And with a sun cap, so you can use it. It will have some damage, but very easy to just stop dress and to get it back into plain use. And I had to explain that to the public. In those days, we used to go on the Rumble every morning, you know, to talk about, you know, what is happening in sports. And similarly now, we do not have resources for every community in St. Lucia to have a cricket field, a football field, and an entertainment venue of that size that can host 6,000 people. In Soufrière, there were about 6,000 people in Soufrière on Saturday, sorry. There were about 6,000. Veg probably had about 6,000 plus. Now, Veg is not a playing facility, so it can stand on its own. But if you go, as a country, we just cannot. When your venues for the international level, you become a little more circumspect how you use it. Especially if you have sporting events right after. You don't want to destroy it and you cannot host events. But you have to be a little open-minded. And you have to invest in the facility where it has the versatility. So it allows you to have multiple events with minimal damage and disruption. Otherwise, you know, what are you going to do? Spend $20 million on an entertainment venue in Castries. And when Henry wants an event, you see everybody must go to Castries for the event. It not making sense. You have to build the Dennery playing field in a way where it allows you to have mass crowd events there. And that's my thinking on it. So I agree, we need to be very respectful of athletes and sporting use, but we also have to understand we don't have the resources to have dedicated facilities. In some communities, the cricket field is also the football field. When I was involved in sports, when there was January to June was cricket, and July to December was football. Now you play football all year round. You have to play cricket all year round now. So you have to be able to understand there must be multiplicity of use.
Some might argue that actually is a cop-out. We can do better. Bearing in mind, obviously, that as we were discussing, we've been having jazz for over 50 years. And widely our venues remain the same, except for the Order of Liège, those venues. So that indicates a failing, if you wish. And then there are the situations that are, according to many, not necessarily palatable insofar as sports people are concerned. So, for example, I know firsthand the SAB facility, on an average, was only available for about 4 months in a year. How do we rationalize with that?
Well, first of all, I don't know that. I mean, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, but I cannot see why it should be only available for 4 months in the year. But again, it comes back to my point. You should use the SAB for entertainment, but you have to be able to restore it as quickly as possible after.
But what if you can't?
But you should be able to. Why can't you? If and I say that to Carnival all the time, in the Carnival budget, you must have money to restore the field to the condition you got it. That must be part of your expenses. Well, that's a different issue. I'm not getting into, I know as a matter of policy, there must be. Now, it's one thing if when the Carnival is finished, they say they need $1 million to restore it. You can tell them you don't have $1 million. But the point is, there is money there to restore the surface. And if it is a proper surface, a sun cap, it doesn't take much to restore it. And I mean, I'm not just saying that. I know what I am talking about in that regard. You have to. It can't be a cop-out. You cannot tell me Cicero has a playing field. I must go and build another facility to host an event because his football has to be played there, and build another one for cricket. We just cannot afford every community to have a cricket field, a football field. The major one should have I think Derry should have a cricket field, a football field. I think Soufresh should have a cricket field, a football field, Viewfort, Rosalie, because these are your major points. You have those major grounds, but you can't just have every community having dedicated sporting facilities.
The conversation is actually with regards to sports and entertainment activities.
Yeah, I'll give you another example. I was responsible for building the indoor facility. And I remember when we were building it, the design was very deliberate. Build a facility that can take, that facility was supposed to be a cricket indoor practice facility. But it was built in a way where we can play basketball, volleyball, netball, we can play small goals football. We can also bring down the nets, roll out the mat in and play indoor cricket practice. So you could have boxing there. You could also have church and crusades there. You can have, build a facility. Madison Square Garden hosts so many different sporting events. So many different. You design it in a way, you make the investment to allow that to happen. So, I mean, I'm not into this thinking that, this is a sporting facility and it must not be used for anything else. Many years ago, I remember in Red Carnival Band, we had a pool party at the Aquatic Center. Convert it into our pool party, I've
been to a few.
You've been to a few. I mean, yes, it's a sporting facility for swimming, but doesn't mean you cannot, a thing. So I hear you on the sensitivities towards that. The purists will always tell you it should always be. But I'll tell you something else, there's a time when everything happened at Mindo Philip Park. Every single thing happened at Mindo Philip Park. So we've come a long way. We're not the ideal yet, but we've come a long, long way. and we have to continue to push. But I still believe in a country with limited resources, limited space, you have to think versatility of your facilities and design it for versatility. And I'm sure you agree with me.
Not even close.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Mr. Minister. Subsequent to the SLTA breakfast, which was supposedly open for legitimate media, you were shown that local media would have been well taken care of.
Yeah.
But the reality is, for some media houses, that did not materialize. Any comments from you?
Again, I will repeat it, and I'm very serious about it. The instructions were given to the appropriate persons to do the right thing and take care of the local media. And if they've not done it, there will have to be consequence management. I mean, I said it publicly, I said it privately, and it's very clear. Short of me going and micromanaging and doing the administrative work myself, if persons are told that the media is a strategic partner of ours and must be treated a particular way, what's this about? I mean, you know, what's this about, seriously?
Can you give any assurances that the coming days ahead would be better?
Well, I mean, you might have to take out my jacket and thing, and then one sit behind the desk and actually process the passes. But I've heard that the media is still unhappy, and with good reason to. Not everybody should not be unhappy, you know. But the point is, you are right. We gave you the assurance, and we said so to you. And the thing that baffles me is, what's the big deal? I can't see what the big deal is. You know, I can understand, you know, like I said, legitimate media. But what's the big deal? Seriously, I can't see it. I can't. I will give the directions once again that we need to treat the local media as a strategic partner, and let's do what we have to do. Let's just get it right.
Okay, certainly looking forward to that.
I mean, if you don't want Ryan to be there, just tell Ryan we don't want him to be there.
That should be easy.
Yeah, that's very easy. Yeah.
Can I just So, not on, I know, I speak on my here's where I think we are. There's an innate disrespect for local media, and it has to be a responsibility of the government, because it's a government event, a government festival, if you wish. And here is where you can identify the disrespect. Why first, superficial maybe, why is there an international media and a local media? I would say I'm positive that the international media had no problems with the masses. Yeah? It's media for the jazz festival. Media. Yeah? Secondly, if the jazz festival is once a year, it means that you have an entire year to sort out these things. If we're organizing it the week before and we do it well. Fine, but you have an entire year. It also means that the local media, as you have alluded to, is in the back seat. We give them passes, or we give them complimentary tickets to come, as opposed to accrediting them to cover an event, a legitimate event, a legitimate, what do you call them, accreditation.
So you've gotten your accreditations?
No. Here's the other thing. You will find that a lot of media practitioners do not want the accreditation anymore because it's useless now.
Why?
It is useless. To cover what?
Kingdom Nights.
No. Okay.
So what would you have wanted to cover?
You want us to cover the community jazz events, right?
Right. Well, that's not SLT.
No. It falls under you because you want to. No, sir.
Hold on. Hamilton, I don't think you can tell me what falls under us. It's controlled by the community. It's controlled by the community teams.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
What I'm saying, the community jazz, for me, what I'm saying, the accreditation is supposed to be spread around. Okay, so the community jazz, you have all season pass to attend because you want us to cover it. You came here and you told us, did we cover it? But we did not have. So for me, with your part of it as the Minister for Information, are you?
No.
Who's that? Stephen Sinking. But what I'm saying, they should have just.
But let's not debate that. You're supposed to be accredited. Let's move.
Right. So then why it is not?
But I'm sure that you all know who to ask that question. I will ask the same person you all know. I'm not really the Prime Minister. What after the Prime Minister? Yeah, no, but you have to ask me as the Minister. But I'm saying to you, the instructions were given. You were there when I gave the instructions. Well, probably, but the media might be the first to come and defend.
That's what the clarity.
No, but I took on that seat. We had a conversation at breakfast. Yes. We discussed it.
Yeah.
You know, we said.
And I have no reason to believe. But I think, Minister, that is where the disappointment.
But why?
No,
what's the issue?
That's where the disappointment. I mean, that breakfast meeting, everyone came out of that meeting feeling satisfied, like, yes, things are going to be different.
But why? Why is it not being done?
I have no idea.
Why?
Maybe you need to find.
Listen. I have. Minister, here is what. Here is my take. If you all could just hear me out for 1 second.
Yeah.
So last year, what I became aware of, you had two sets of lists. So SLT handled, and that's more questionable. We're having a discussion now. Anyway, SLT was handling the international press, and Events was handling the local press. There seemed to have been some mismanagement of that, so SLT decided they're going to take on everything. What I'm assuming happened this year and happened last year as well, we go by old templates. So we had a discussion, and I'm telling you why. We had a discussion last year about, and this year what is going to happen. So person just went on and they pull up names. I'll give you an example. In my instance, when I went to collect the names of the passes that I provided, I was given a pass for someone who's not even with my team. So there was an old template that, and that has happened before. The other thing I have recommended, and everyone said yes, we're going to do it. So every year, and that came out of the meeting as well, you see a list saying, okay, electronic 2, print 2. And we've had that discussion. The festival has now extended to almost 3 weeks from the 19th of April. And I've had the discussion, I've made a recommendation that you cannot tell, and I'm not even speaking just for myself, that in electronic media, you cannot say you have Jerry and one reporter doing 15, 16 events, like when you say 2, over a period of time. So I've made certain recommendations where that is concerned, that have been taken into consideration. But then when you show up there, it's still the old format of 2 for print, 1 for this, and so on. Somebody is not listening.
No,
Somebody's not listening.
Guys, let me tell you, this is not rocket science. Media management takes place at all events, international events. Simple. I mean, I've been CEO of Western Cricket. I've been CEO of Cricket St. Lucia and of the ICC World T20, and I've had to look at different ways in which they manage the media. It's not rocket science. It's a very simple thing to do. Very, very simple thing to do.
And we've done it before.
I mean, it's not very simple thing to do. There might be issues they want to avoid, but there's a very simple way to avoid those issues. Have a frank conversation in the media and state what the policy is. Hold on, because you raised an important point. One reporter might not be able to do 15 events. So is it that the station, say whichever one, is saying I need 15 accredited people? Because
I don't think that's the case.
But that's my point. Yeah. So they might say, but look, why should we give you 15? Give that one 20. Give that, because all of a sudden, let me tell you, let's be frank in our conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody might send a list and it have 15 names on it or 12 names on it, and
No.
Hello.
But Minister,
hello.
If you do this early enough, you receive a list of 15 names.
Let me tell you.
From that
so
point,
who did they send to ask for the list of names? Hamilton will send in the list?
No, your manager or your team lead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's move forward. I think we need to have some frank conversations, and the issues that want to be avoided, find the best way to avoid it. Let's leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, well, I'm going to, when I leave here, I'm going to ask them. I thought this thing had been resolved already. It should be resolved. And like I said, if there are issues, they need to resolve the issues by having a frank conversation with the persons involved. No, just let me.
Just a suggestion. I have a suggestion. If for umpteen years the situation persists, obviously the wrong people are in those positions. They need to be fired. You have competent media people who can make that understand what is required. Look, you have three right there.
Yeah.
Okay, can I ask my question now?
And you have Ryan right there.
We'll have a thing around this time, offer some sort of liaison kind of.
But I mean, that's not no major thing to do. I mean, to accredit media persons to an event can be no.
I think I have an idea as to what.
There must be some deep underlying reason, which I'll try to get to.
The what?
Yeah, I'll try to get to.
Thank you. Final question?
Yeah.
How has speedy review? How did that augur well for St. Lucia?
No, I mean the data I saw, the analytics was really, really good in terms of the number of people viewing, the reaction that has happened. It's really been, excellent. Of course, it's a very good platform, a very good exposure, and it's now up to the tourism authority to see how they can convert all that eyeballs into serious leads on persons actually traveling. But certainly in terms of international exposure, it did very well for us, albeit within a particular age group. But it was fantastic, it really was. And from all reports, everything went well.
On the lighter side, your reaction to the opposition taking umbrage with musical selections at jazz? You have an opinion on that?
Well, I mean, I heard a lot about it, and a lot has been said about it and whether or not, and I think somebody even raised whether we should speak to all the DJs and make sure they don't play political songs. I think, for some of those debates, they're really nonsensical, and the people who are pushing them, they're just not learning their lesson. Well, first of all, if you say do not play political songs, it means no Calypsonian who sings a political song can come and sing that song at any event. So it means they just cannot. So T.C. Brown cannot sing My Choice at any event because it's political in a sense. I would not, and despite what was posted saying that Philip J. Pierre asked that they play that song, Philip J. Pierre will never do that. I mean, anything you know about the Prime Minister will tell you that that's nonsense. Philip J. Pierre doesn't have to do that. And certainly I will not ask anybody to play any such song. Not because I don't want the song to be played, but you just don't do that. You don't say go and play a political song because you just want to be cheap in your political practices. But the point is, if people are calling for a song and a DJ drop a tune, I mean, that's the mood we're in. That's just the mood. You can't stop people from celebrating. You can't stop people from feeling proud that the government has done something and other people are criticizing it. That's just the mood we're in the country. They still have flags flying around the country. So if you all are unhappy, go and take down all the flags. If you all are, the fact is people are still celebrating, and I will not stop anybody from celebrating the party's victory. I won't.
So if the shoe was on the other foot?
Well, I would just put my tail between my legs and run. Seriously. But who tells the leader of the opposition stop giving misinformation in Parliament? Why don't they do that equally? My point is, people are in that mood still. Those things will wear out after a few months. All the flags will disappear. All the posters will disappear. It will. It will not disappear if this government remains perpetually popular and people stay in the mood is red. Now, I would wish we stay in that mood, But I'm a realist, and I understand in politics it ebbs and it flows. There are good times and there are bad times. And I just think it is so petty and nonsensical for somebody. And I honestly, I do hope somebody else asks for a special request regularly. But I won't, and I'm sure no Minister of Government would, and the Prime Minister certainly would not endorse any such thing.
Just to further the discussion, I mean, if you go out, oh sorry, what am I? You go out to a party, an event, and just certain songs come on that don't necessarily have anything to do with the event. Let's say Papa Jab, No Woman, No Kind of. It'll just come on, and it evokes some kinds of reaction. Wouldn't I mean? Just my opinion here. I think this it's almost in Lucian folklore now. Some of these political songs. It's just something you play because it brings back a certain. Like I said,
nostalgia. Yeah. Okay. How could you tell me during the carnival season coming up that nobody will play Kenson's theme song? Marcella move from there. That must play somewhere. It's just what it is, you know. But there's a time and season for everything, and let's just enjoy the jazz. Want the best for St. Lucia, and the time will come again when we'll be in the political arena, you know. So. We'll probably be on the market steps very soon, and there'll be a lot of playing of those songs. So, I mean, let's just enjoy it for what it is.
Hopefully the passes will be sorted out.
I'm going to work on it right away. And I think people who don't ask questions at press briefing should not get passes.
Okay.
1, 2.
The cameraman.
2. And the cameraman.
Just a comment to you. Spoke about during the carnival, maybe the members of the press who wish to. There's not a question. There's the preliminary judging of the.
Yes, it's going on now. Yeah,
going on right now. So that's a story there as well.
Yeah, it is going on right now. Yeah. And all the mothers and fathers in there can make sure that children. I think but that's really. It says a lot that even during jazz we're already so advanced, whatnot.
And even the releases, a number of, I think, last I checked, there were like about 60 new soca songs
already.
Right
Yeah. So, thank you very much. I hope I see you at jazz, and you have fun. And if you still have problems with tickets, let me know.
That's for Hamilton.
Yeah,
Hamilton knew that, right? I paid my money.
So you don't want tickets?
I'm paying my money.
Okay.
I'm not going for nobody to embarrass me. I'm paying my money. No, I paid my money first day.
I agree.
I paid my money first day. I don't want no embarrassment, and I continue to do it. End of story.
The last time we had a breakfast, maybe we should have a dinner.
Yeah, we'll have a dinner. We'll have a dinner. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Preparation of the 2026 policy statement has been the most challenging since independence. However, this will not be allowed to deter this government's commitment to meeting the aspirations of its people. The war in the Middle East have meant that the global economic uncertainty and rising oil prices will become a local economic impediment for as long as this situation continues. This is why, Mr. Speaker, I have been urging the people of St. Lucia to take responsibility for the things that are within their control and not allow themselves to be misled. In these circumstances, we need emphatic, focused, and responsible leadership that understands that the good of the country should supersede any individual or political party interest. We are not a government of excuses. We are a government which delivers on its promises. The men and women on this side pledge to work together to make our island, St. Lucia, the best place to live and work in the region. This year, a business facilitation unit will be established in the Department of Commerce to oversee the implementation of the Ease of Doing Business agenda. Mr. Speaker, a long-standing issue for the private sector has been an electronic single entry window. This issue has been on the table for discussion for almost 20 years. This is a significant ease of doing business cost reduction initiative for the private sector, which will eliminate duplication of entries, multiple applications for licenses or permits with broader agencies, and in-person visits to submit applications or payments.
Yeah. So I'm about to end.
We're ending?
Yeah. So we've come to the end of this Monday's pre-cabinet press briefing. We thank you once again for being here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, but you guys.